Hey, good morning. It's Robert Phoenix, and it is about 8:34 here in Central Texas, in the sleepy little burg known as Fredericksburg, where we are just mere months away from testing the political system and hoping that we can overturn the fluoridation practice in law in this city. The dentists are on the warpath. They got on the radio a couple weeks ago, and they were very upset. We had junk science, and we were nuts, and they're making this case against our case that we don't need the fucking fluoride in our water. So uh, we're gonna get back on the radio here in the not so distant future, and I think we're gonna call the dentists out, have them do a debate. I think that would be the plan. Anyway, November 3rd. That's the day that we go to the ballot. It's very exciting. Very exciting. What's happening, everybody? It's Wednesday, and it is the 25th of September. We're still in Libra. We just got into Libra. Happy Libra. Everybody's peaceful, happy. Everybody's fine. Libra is an interesting sign. I got a lot of it in my chart, and I do my best to reconcile with all the Libra. It's all in the 11th house, and that's where we get the name, the 11th house, for the other show. What's going on? How is everyone? Hope everybody had a peaceful and restful sleep, wherever you are, whatever part of the world that you're viewing this stream on. It was an interesting day yesterday. There was a lot of Greta backlash, more Greta backlash. And, I think people, here's the deal. People are getting tired of people telling them what to think, how to feel, what to eat. It's getting to be a bit much, and I think that there's a people. Here's what I'm picking up on: people don't give a shit that Greta has some kind of disability. The king approaches. It's a big moment when the king approaches. Come on, let's go. It is. So it's a big deal when somebody comes in and has a quote unquote disability, and that's not even stopping people. There was a guy on, I guess, on Fox. I didn't see the interview, but he was kind of railing on Greta Thunberg, and somebody retorted and said that she's neuron challenged. So how dare you? How dare you have such disparaging things to say to a neuron challenged youth? I've never heard that term before. So there's a new kind of lexicon, a new vocabulary that's coming into play now. Also, climate justice, because apparently now the climate deal is also now linked to being racist, and that the problems or the challenges around the climate that the world is facing, which is a bunch of bullshit, is due to the fact that it was done by a bunch of white people. So climate justice. Now you're going to see the indigenous army. This is where the indigenous army is going to come into play. We've already seen some of this with a couple gals, young gals, who are either from the Amazon or from First Nation people here standing up for Mother Earth, the water, the environment. And I'm not here to diss them. It's because it's kind of part of their world, their culture, their land. You go to a place like South Dakota where the groundwater is just totally fucked up. Even places in Utah, because of what they do with the uranium tailings and things like that, the water there is incredibly bad. So I don't have a problem with these people standing up for their water rights or the sanctity of their water, or in the case of the young gal in the Amazon, standing up for, the Amazon and protecting the Amazon. I don't have a problem with that. But then linking them in to Greta's army and having them be a part of like this shockwave of environmental activists, again, I think is a bit disingenuous. And so the whole idea of bringing her to this country is beginning to backfire. And apparently somebody in Sweden called CPS on her parents. Now, it's a clever thing, but I don't think it's going to amount to much, to be honest with you. I don't. I think it's one of those things where it's like, okay, who is she? What is she doing? Oh, this is a country, by the way, who is advocating the eating of bugs. Cannibalism has brought in so many migrants and refugees into their country that they probably have the record for no-go zones. I mean, it's a country that is genocidal. The Swedes have kind of I think they have a death wish, to be honest with you. And of course, Barbara Lerner Specter, she came into Sweden and basically said, this is where they made the clarion call, and she was the messenger. And she basically said, Europe and their monolithic cultures have come to an end, and Europe is going to have to deal with diversity. And these are her words, not mine. The Jewish people are going to play a role in that, and if you don't like it, well, tough shit, because we're going to drag you kicking and screaming into the 21st century. Now, she did this in Sweden. She has an institute there called Paideia, and it's basically kind of this think tank which is being used to train the youth, retrain the youth, get in their heads, and fill their heads with all these wonderful social justice virtues. So that's Sweden. Okay, do you think that they're going to? You think they're going to do anything about Greta and her parents? That when she goes back to Sweden, that they're going to scoop her parents up and take Greta away? The girl is unstable. Now, there are some people who think that she's not even a girl. That's another wrinkle, huh? But would you be surprised if that's the case? There's all kinds of stuff coming out about her, the family, and people. Once you enter the fray, look out, because there are people with keyboards, and people are very good at researching things. We've had a lot of practice on the internet, and so the Greta story is I think it's in her 15 minutes. I think she's at about maybe 10. Like, this was her big moment to be able to do what she did and get before the UN Assembly and all that stuff. We'll see where they go from here. She wasn't the only person at the UN. Trump was at the UN, and I'm going to play some of Trump's speech. It was a very interesting speech. Let me just go into YouTube and check in with people, see where we are. Okay, we got Ian and Steve. What's going on, Steve? SKPC 333. Good morning. And there's Shari. There's Ani and Janelle and Sticky. What's going on, Sticky? Sticky says they want to build 3 huge dams in the Amazon. I wonder if the fires are burning anywhere near the 3 dam sites. It's a good question. Hey, Kathy, what's going on? And there's Judy. Nice to see you, Judy. So there we go. We got people in the chat. All right, so I'm going to play a little bit of Trump's speech. He talks for about 25 minutes, and this falls into the good Trump camp, because he just nails everything. I mean, if you listen to this speech, his timing is perfect. He looks a little weird. I almost wonder. I have to ask myself, is this really Donald Trump? Because he looks a little different, and there's something about his tone, not the voice, but something about the tone that's slightly different. I'm withholding judgment on this, but it's actually, if he's real about this speech, it's probably one of the most important speeches of his administration, because he basically comes flat out and says, we're going to defeat globalism. It's a very interesting speech. Now, I've got some ideas about what I think he means, but why don't I stop talking, and let's get the orange man on here and let him start talking. All right, I'm going to let this play for about maybe 10 minutes, and then I'm going to come back in and we'll talk some more, break it down a little bit, and then I'll also get into a very troubling incident of a new red flag law, and it's a shape and a sign of things to come. So you're going to want to stick around for that as well. Okay, so let's bring on Trump. Here he is from yesterday, and what I think is a kind of a monumental and important speech. Here we go.
The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Donald Trump, President of the United States of America. I request protocol to escort His Excellency.
Well, he should be coming here. Here we go.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, and to invite him to address the Assembly.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, distinguished delegates, ambassadors, and world leaders, 7 decades of history have passed through this hall in all of their richness and drama. Where I stand, the world has heard from presidents and premiers at the height of the Cold War. We have seen the foundation of nations. We have seen the leaders of revolution. We have beheld saints who inspired us with hope, rebels who stirred us with passion, and heroes who embolden us with courage. All to share plans, proposals, visions, and ideas on the world's biggest stage. Like those who met us before, our time is one of great contests, high stakes, and clear choices. The essential divide runs all around the world and throughout history is once again thrown into stark relief. It is the divide between those whose thirst for control deludes them into thinking that they are destined to rule over others. And those people and nations who want only to rule themselves. I have the immense privilege of addressing you today as the elected leader of a nation that prizes liberty, independence, and self-government above all. The United States, after having spent over $2.5 trillion since my election to completely rebuild our great military, is also by far the world's most powerful nation. Hopefully, it will never have to use this power. Americans know that in a world where others seek conquest and domination, our nation must be strong in wealth, in might, and in spirit. That is why the United States vigorously defends the traditions and systems that have made us who we are. Like my beloved country, each nation represented in this hall has a cherished history, culture, and heritage that is worth defending and celebrating, and which gives us our singular potential and strength. The world must embrace its national foundations. It must not attempt to erase them or replace them. Looking around and all over this large, magnificent planet, the truth is plain to see. If you want freedom, take pride in your country. If you want democracy, hold on to sovereignty. And if you want peace, love your nation. Wise leaders always put the good of their own people and their own country first. The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots. The future belongs to sovereign and independent nations who protect their citizens, respect their neighbors, and honor the differences that make each country special and unique. It is why we in the United States have embarked on an exciting program of national renewal. In everything we do, we are focused on empowering the dreams and aspirations of our citizens. Thanks to our pro-growth economic policies, our domestic unemployment rate reached its lowest level in over half a century. Fueled by massive tax cuts and regulations cuts, jobs are being produced at a historic rate. 6 million Americans have been added to the employment rolls in under 3 years. Last month, African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment reached the lowest rates ever recorded. We are marshaling our nation's vast energy abundance, and the United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world. Wages are rising, incomes are soaring, and 2.5 million Americans have been lifted out of poverty in less than 3 years. As we rebuild the unrivaled might of the American military, we are also revitalizing our alliances by making it very clear that all of our partners are expected to pay